What's up, y'all? Goofy Rexy here, and hope everybody is doing well. And wanted to do a video today, guys, and talk about the top teams and characters to avoid in Marvel Strike Force. I got a comment the other day on my videos that said, "Hey, it's good. I like that I'm getting the options, or you're giving me the options of the best teams or characters to invest in. But what about those teams and characters that I should be avoiding?" So we're going to be talking about that here today. Some character team options. Some teams and characters are just kind of falling out of the meta. I do want to sort of put a little bit of a disclaimer out though and say this, that some of the teams or characters that I'm going to be discussing here, some of them do still have some uses, which we are going to be talking about here, but it's just more about not over investing into certain teams and certain characters that I'm concerned about, which is the reason why I do want to talk about and make this video here. So we're actually going to jump right into it and talk about the first team here, which is for me going to be the Asgardians. So for me, the Asgardians definitely fall on this list. They're sort of one of those teams that probably should not get any investment here, or just should not get too much investment, right? Now, this team is still needed for a legendary unlock, which is Black Bolt. Black Bolt eventually leads to Ebony Maw, so therefore there is some importance slightly with that, because Black Bolt can be used for the next Scourge event for Famine, so it will be important to unlock Black Bolt probably for future events, right? If you're not going to be able to do the Scourge event right now, but for future Scourge events that you probably will have an access to. And then of course Ebony Maw, kind of a niche character, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But after that, really there's no need for any of the rest of these characters here at all. Hela does have some individual usage, but I find that she's more of a niche character. I do have her at G15. I use her for Dark Dimension 4. No regrets there. There was no Silver Surfer. There was no Eternals, right? So it was okay to be able to use her then. Hela and Greg and Minerva were actually a really nice comp there. Loki is used for some endgame content, but you don't need to bring him past gear tier 12. Like I use him on my Darkhold team right now as an arena team, as you can see here. Yeah, there's my arena team. Yeah, so I use him on offense with like Eternals every now and again. I use him with Darkhold. So therefore he provides some value there, but it's really only because of his passive. I don't need him to be any higher. I just need him to fill the speed bar on turn 1. So for my Morgan Le Fay, so that my Morgan Le Fay goes first. And of course, this nice little 30% resistance to all enemies is also nice too, to make sure that I can land the ability block. But apart from that, that's essentially it that you're doing with this team. I think at most, all of these characters probably can, even Hela can probably stay at gear tier 12, gear tier 11. That's still enough for you to be able to unlock a 7-star Black Bolt, right? So that's really kind of where I would probably leave this team. Sif is also a War Store farm, which is just not good, right? Not great. So personally for me, that's one of the reasons why they're definitely on this list. Now, the next team I wanted to talk about are the Symbiotes, and this hurts me because they're one of my favorite teams in Marvel Strike Force, and they're probably still the best city option in terms of like a full team, just to like actually being able to do Dark Dimension, right? Like the city nodes. They're probably still the best full team, but they're not the best investment anymore, right? They're just not that good anymore. They used to be they're not. We used to use them for the raid meta, but they're not really good for raids anymore. Web Warriors have outclassed them where that is concerned. We have other city characters now that you can use in those Dark Dimension nodes, like Shang-Chi, Cloak and Dagger, although they probably won't perform as well as the Symbiotes would in Dark Dimension, because this team is sort of built to be just good in Dark Dimension, right? And also in raids, but while other you know what I'm saying, right? Like they'll perform well in Dark Dimension, but you're better off investing into Web Warriors, because Web Warriors will do better in raids. You're better off investing into Shang-Chi, because Shang-Chi will do better in raids. You're better off investing into Cloak and Dagger, because Cloak and Dagger will do better in raids. Also, these teams that I'm talking about are also better in war. So you'll get multifaceted usages out of those characters, as opposed to being able to get that multifaceted usage out of the Symbiotes. There are also some tough farms, right? I think Carnage is in the War Store, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe he got taken out, but from my understanding, he's in the War Store. Yeah, Yeah, he's a war store farm. So is AV. AV is a war anti-venom is a war store farm. Symbiote Spider-Man is in the milestone orb at a boosted drop rate, but you're gonna get more drops for Emma because she's at a higher drop rate. And he's also in the Doom 4-9. Yeah, just not really reliable to farm these characters either. Venom has a node, and Scream is in the arena store. There's some other characters that are a little bit higher in terms of priority as an arena character, store character. So therefore, for me, this team definitely does fall on this list. Fun team back in the day, and I hope that they get a rework, but just not really a part of the meta right now. All right, the next team I wanted to talk about is Shadowland, and this is a team that I recommended a little while ago, and I initially recommended them because of ease of accessibility in order to be able to get shards for these characters. I mean, Electro you get sort of on day one. Daredevil is kind of a quick, easy unlock. Moon Knight does have a node now. White Tiger is in the Blitz store. Night Nurse has an early node farm. So a lot of these characters were just really early and easy accessible to get. So I did recommend them. They also have, some of these characters do have the Hero City tag, which you do need for like some of the challenges, for some of the campaign nodes. So I did recommend them then. But the meta was just different at that time. Now there's more characters that are available that do have that Hero City tag that are a little bit more accessible now, like Cloak, like Shang-Chi, like some of these other Web Warrior characters that are better for other content in the game. So therefore, this team has fallen off. They're a war offense team too. That's where they perform the best, and they need a lot of T4s in order for them to perform at the level that you want them to. So for me personally, the Shadowland team definitely is on this list as a team to probably avoid. Probably just entirely in terms of even investment. I just don't think you need them at all. With the symbiotes, Asgardians have a little bit of value, right? But yeah, probably a team to avoid in general is probably just Shadowland, in my opinion. All right, next team I want to talk about here, and this probably might cause a little bit of controversy, and I'm all for it. It's Uncanny. It's Uncanny. And I'm specifically talking about like Storm and Cyclops and Colossus. I know that Magic is going to be farmable soon, and she's actually a character I'm going to be bringing into Dark Dimension 5. So therefore, I am going to find some value for her there. I do like mutants in general, so I'm always trying to find a way to invest into them for whatever reason is possible. But for me personally, and Phoenix, I still think has value, so I think she's fine as a character to invest into. And she's an easier unlock now. She was a 6-star unlock, now she's a 5-star unlock. Some of the characters are a little bit more accessible to get now, so therefore it's okay to try to like farm and to unlock her. A lot of players are still using her in Dark Dimension, like even Dark Dimension 5. So yeah, I mean she's okay. I think that may change though moving forward now that Rogue is getting released, right? I think people probably are gonna choose Rogue over Phoenix, so Phoenix may have sort of seen her day too. Now the reason why I said that this is probably going to cause some controversy is because a lot of endgame players are using Uncanny X-Men against Web Warriors, right? And that's fine. In Cosmic Crucible, I guess you can also use Uncanny against Web Warriors too. But the thing for me is just that, like, I just find them to be a niche team. They're more of an endgame sweaty team that you want to invest into. In terms of anything else that you need them for, you just don't need it. Hey, what about the Doom Chapter 1 campaign where you need hero mutants? You have Shatterstar, Longshot. You have availability to, I think, Polaris. Multiple is a little bit of a further farm, but you have hero mutant characters there. There's Beast that is available, right? There's just other options that you have. Wolverine you're going to get for free. There's other options that are available other than investing into a Uncanny X-Men team, because realistically, Cyclops, Storm, you're not going to really use them anywhere else in the game. Like I said, super sweaty game players, end game players will do it. Players who have already invested into them already will find some value there, but they're not a team that if you haven't invested into them yet, that you probably need to invest into. So that's sort of my thoughts on where this team is. Now, the next team I wanted to discuss here are the Wave 1 Avengers. And I this is one of those things where it's like, they do have value. They're still a good beginner team, but my issue is over investment. And I see this a lot where I'll see players use Captain America and Hulk. By the way, this is me refusing to invest into Hulk and bring him to 7 stars. In general, actually, I have a lot of characters that I refuse to bring to 7 stars because I just don't use them anymore. And what's the point of me spending 500k gold on using them, like whatever, for higher blitz points where I don't really blitz that much anyways? yeah, whatever. But yeah, I mean, personally for me, I just don't really think that they're that I think this is a team where you kind of cap out at level 55 in gear tier 9, right? That's pretty much as far as I think that you need to take this team. And I know some players will say, well, what about the Doom Chapter 1 campaign? Like, what about me needing them for that? And I'm like, I don't really think you actually need them for it. Because if I jump into the Doom Chapter 1 campaign right now, at the very end for the Negasonic node, you don't need a full Wave 1 Avengers team. You can there's a shield tag, so there's Maria Hill, there's Yo-Yo, there's Fantastic Four, there's Invisible Woman. Don't use Invisible Woman and Yo-Yo together because Yo-Yo won't be effective. There's also Nick Fury, right? I mean, there's just other options that are available where you can put together a team. Yeah, maybe sure you can probably use like Black Widow and maybe use Hawkeye to sort of give some other sort of value there. But yeah, you can definitely find that. But I'm just saying that I just think that this team is sort of a team that should be capped out. They shouldn't get orange gear. They shouldn't get, some of them probably shouldn't go past gear tier 10, like Captain America and Hulk, right? I just don't think that you need to put any sort of investment. Over investing into this team is a little bit of a danger zone in my personal opinion. So that's the reason why I do have them on this list. Another team that's a beginner team that I also have on this list as well is the Sinister Six team. So Sinister Six is one of those other ones again where it's like over investment, right? You've seen where I've left my Electro level 60 in gear tier 10. You've seen a lot of these other characters at level 60 in gear tier 10. My Swarm is at level 60 in gear tier 10 behind my head. Also for the Sinister Six team, the best characters on this team, obviously Doc Ock, but it's Rhino, it's Mysterio, it's Electro, and then Swarm. Those are the best characters to use on the Sinister Six team alongside Doc Ock. If you don't have Doc Ock, then you could probably get some good value out of Vulture. I think Vulture is actually a pretty good character. So if you're for someone like your early villain content, if you're like, hey, obviously you're starting out and you're not gonna be able to get Doc Ock yet, Vulture, Rhino, Electro, Mysterio, and Swarm I think are probably the best 5-person team. I really love Vulture. Vulture's like speed. He's good. He's actually a good character. Just lack stats to be amazing, right? That's kind of the idea with him. But yeah, I just see a lot of players invest too high. I think level 60 gear tier 10 is a good place to park them. And you may say, well, what about the villains campaign, the villains chapter 1 campaign? Like, I'm gonna need to invest into them to be able to get through those 3 nodes. Yeah, no, you don't. For these 3 nodes right here, where you can use either AIM, Hydra, or Sinister Six. No, you don't really need Sinister Six to be that high. I'm telling you, level 60, gear tier 10, a high Zemo will get you through the content. You may need to restart the node a couple times. I'm not gonna tell you it's gonna be smooth sailing, but I'm just saying that save some of your resources here, invest wisely, don't go too hard. Those are my thoughts when it comes to Sinister Six. And they can still at level 60 and gear tier 10 get you a 7-star Shuri, right? Like, you are fine leaving them at level 60 gear tier 10. Just don't overinvest into Sinister Six is my sort of recommendation here. Another character option, actually we're getting to the first character only option, is gonna be Ultron. I know once again there are gonna be some players who are gonna be upset. Where's my Ultron? I can't even find him. Where are you? I think he's like 120 and some change, or maybe he's only 100. Here he is. Listen, I got him a gear tier 15. I tried the thing. I put 2 red stars on him. I tried to make it work, guys. I tried. Then we started doing Doom difficulty 2.2, and I was like, yeah, no. We're not going any further with this, man, sir. This is where the party shall end for you. And I don't regret it. I do like Ultron. I'm praying that he gets, I don't know, he's probably never going to get a rework, but I'm praying that there's going to be a game mode at some point in time where I can use him. I know he's a prize for Dark Dimension 2, but yeah, I just don't use him anymore. Maybe it's a thing where I just don't know how to use him. I have my 11 war offense teams. I have my, bless me. I have my war defense team set. Like, he's a liability on war defense or offense. There's no place to use him. Like, Aimtron was like a really cool, dope, fun team to use, but now there's just no value, in my opinion, for Ultron. I'm not gonna tell you you should not unlock him. I'm just saying that you should probably not invest really high into him. Don't bring him to G15. there's probably going to be no value for you there. So yeah, those are sort of my thoughts on some of the characters and teams here. We do have some honorable mentions to talk about, so we'll list them out here. So AIM is a team that I thought about as well that probably deserves a little bit of coaching on. I know that they're a recommended beginner team a while back, and I still do see some earlier players investing into AIM because there is some content out there that still does promote AIM, which is old content, but of course the YouTube algorithm just doesn't show you new content. It shows you most popular content. So that's kind of what it is when it comes down to it. But AIM, not a team that you should really invest very high into at all. There are some characters that you probably will need to use in order for you to be able to get through some of the like the Doom campaign content, but just be mindful that you don't need all those characters. Just probably need some of them, because I believe in some of those nodes you can also use Wakandans. Wakandans actually might be the better option now moving forward than using AIM in those sections. I think it's like Doom Chapter 2 where you will need that. Power armor, I see a lot of players who just want to invest into power armor because of Iron Man and sort of the value that Iron Man can provide. And I definitely do understand that. It's not the value that he can provide, but just because he's an iconic character. I can't believe I just said value that he can provide. The only value he provides is there's no value whatsoever. He's the first legendary that you can unlock for free, like pretty easily. But yeah, I mean, the team is just not a good team. Fantastic Four in the same boat, just not a great team. You do need Invisible Woman for a Flash event, so invest into her, but that's one of those things where just don't go too high on the rest of the team here. Actually, you probably could get away with just not investing into the rest of the team at all and just invest into Invisible Woman for Nowhere Heist, to be fair. X-Force, same deal. You need them to unlock Doc Ock. Level 65, gear tier 11, gets you a 7-star Doc Ock. You'll be fine. Kree, a level, you need them to unlock Nick Fury. Nick Fury you need for Omega Red. Kree team, level 45, gear tier 8, can probably get you a 7-star Nick Fury. Maybe 55 and 9 if you need to, but you're going to be fine with unlocking a 7-star Nick Fury. I did put Silver Surfer and Minerva on this list as honorable mentions. I didn't put them on the main list. I originally was going to put them on the main list, but I put them as honorable mentions. Silver Surfer is sort of in a weird place. I think he's a good character. I actually find a lot of value using Silver Surfer right now on my roster. I have him at gear tier 15. The problem is that I don't think if you have not unlocked Silver Surfer yet, that when you do unlock him, that you will need him. He's not farmable, number one. You got to get lucky with getting some shards or buying offers for him. You can, if you get lucky with them, you can probably use them in the Mystic campaign, right? Like you can get through some content there. There are some Doom campaign nodes. There's like a hero supernatural section or hero mystic section where you can use them in the Doom campaign. But other than that, there are just better mystic options that are available that probably will take priority over Silver Surfer, like Cloak and Dagger, right? Like Eternals, if they ever become farmable. So in my opinion, yeah, probably Silver Surfer is one of those characters that may be skippable or may be a character to avoid. Minerva, same boat, right? She is like a cool character if you unlock her by accident that you can use for some like early raid content. You can probably use her as well for some of the villains nodes. Like you can get some good solid value. Cosmic campaign, you can get some good value out of Minerva, but she's not really. A lot of players do use her end game for Doom raid content, and that's okay because they have already built her out for like Dark Dimension 4. So hey, let's just turn around and then use it for Doom raids. But I think a lot of players have gone to like Doom 2.2 and Doom 2.3. Minerva has fallen a little bit off. She just needs a rework. Oh my God, give Minerva a rework. Give her like an extra 40% max health, man. And that would probably, her kit's fine. Her kit is fine. It's just, she's a war store farm too. It's just tough. It's just tough for Minerva. I think she's just seeing her day right now where the game is concerned. But hey, those are kind of the last things I wanted to talk about. One quick thing I'll mention too is just don't chase legendaries in MSF. I know that a lot of these legendaries they seem like sort of like a prize option, but I just don't think that you should chase legendaries in MSF anymore. The Scourge ones, it's just, you can kind of fall into a little bit of a trap chasing legendaries, especially depending on when you can get those legendaries as well. It can kind of be a little bit of a trap. There are certain top tier ones, which I made a video about already, that you should probably target trying to get in the future, but just don't try to force yourself to try to chase them. it can kind of be a little disheartening at times. The meta shifts, and if that legendary falls out of the meta, then what happens? I just think that it's just more, sometimes you want to be selective in which ones you try to go after, and then sometimes also maybe be a little patient in general. So those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know if you have any questions about anything. We're happy to help. Hopefully this video sort of gave you some insight on some information here in regards to like maybe direction that you want to take with your roster. What are your thoughts on the characters and teams that I've mentioned here? Are there some that you probably don't agree with? Are there some that you probably want to put on the list that I didn't talk about? Some that you want to take off the list that I talked about as well? Curious to hear. And of course, there are some obvious ones that I didn't mention on this list as well. But listen, appreciate you guys very much. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys. Until next time, y'all be blessed. Y'all be safe. All right, y'all.